So I'm here with head rugby coach, Jason Kimball, and we're just gonna be talking about our upcoming game tonight against Lake Travis, some things to expect and some keys to winning the game. You have anything to kind of open with, like maybe talk about our opponent a little bit, how they kind of play or something like that?
Yeah, this game was supposed to be scheduled in February, but they moved it because they didn't have a field, which is kind of ironic because it's literally the pinnacle of the season. Both teams are undefeated, so this is going to decide the district champion. Plus, when we've had their number, we played them in 2 previous years and have beaten them. And those guys, those seniors were sophomores the first time, the juniors last year. So this year, I think they really have a mark for us. So it's going to be very intense, and it's the style they play. They are hard runners. They do run a pretty complex attack system. I think we can take advantage of their defense because I don't think they have a whole lot of structure to that. So kind of been a running theme all year, but as long as we can out rugby them, try to focus on keeping them from going up in these zones, but we on attack focus on just moving up a zone, not just trying to score every time. I think we should have a good run today.
So what are you talked a little bit about the playoff implications for this match. Could you talk a little bit about the playoffs to someone who wouldn't know what that looks like, and even our season after that?
Yeah, our district stretches from Lake Travis all the way to New Orleans. So we all agreed for travel purposes we're going to have the first 2 rounds here in Houston to minimize both Lake Travis High and NOLA Jesuits travel. So we're going to, no matter what, we've qualified for playoffs next week. Quarterfinals will be on Friday, and if we win that, we'll play in the semifinal on Sunday. Tonight's game will determine the seeding. 3 and 4 is already decided. So NOLA Jesuit is 3rd, St. Thomas is 4th. The winner tonight will play St. Thomas, 1 versus 4. And then the loser will play NOLA Jesuit in the quarters. So it's, I think, very important. Especially I think we match up better with St. Thomas. In reality, no matter where we end up seeding, all 3 teams are kind of similar, that they're very physical. I think we have a better kicking game. I think we have more dynamic attack than all 3. So I'm hoping no matter what outcome tonight, we're going to still be in a position to move all the way to the state championship, which will be May 3rd. And then if we're able to have a good showing there, we have an invitation standing to the Nationals tournament, which is last weekend of March, right before graduation. It's the first ever time we've been invited. It's only the 2nd time a school from Texas has been invited to go, so it's a huge honor. It's usually made up a bunch of Jesuit high schools from across the country. I think it's time that we finally made a national presence. I feel really good with our varsity green side, and the fact that we have about 30 to 35 guys that could be on that roster. That's the depth that I don't think no one else in the state currently has. But to be able to compete at a national level, you have to have like 35 guys, player pool to pull from.
So we look at last year's starting team in the state championship, and that was made up of a lot of seniors, right? A lot of guys that graduated. And I think we've talked about a lot, our strength is our brotherhood. And so how have you seen, with a team losing that many leaders, how have you seen some that brotherhood still be cultivated?
I mean, it goes back. I looked at it the first time we went to the state championship 3 seasons ago. I was like, well, how are we going to replace Greg Higgins? How are we going to replace Daniel Walls? I mean, I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. And then you look at last year's senior class and some of the great standouts there. I mean, it's a great problem that we're always graduating such good talent, but I think they're helping train the younger guys. And now you look at our senior class this year. I mean, how are we going to replace, Bobby? How are we going to replace Lev? But they've kind of helped train the juniors and sophomores that are contributing now, I think, in a very positive way. It's kind of one of those coaching maxims, tradition never graduates. But I really think it's player led, and I say it even goes back to when Coach Smythe, Coach Nunez, and I, all 3 of us got here 6 years ago. We had a senior class, didn't know us very well. We definitely had a different style of coaching. I think we only had 22 guys in the program that first year, maybe 25. But then that senior class kind of set the precedence, even through COVID. They set a precedence of like what the expectations are. They've set and it's just kind of continued each and every year. And I think this year's another just example of all that tradition like coming to fruition.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's it.
Yes, sir.